Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great Wednesday. Can you believe it? It's Wednesday. We are here halfway through. Don't give up just yet. And so I want to give people opportunity as they're coming in to share, and we share some more. As I am about to do as well. And we know this is the routine for us now, right? And so we make sure that we share information and content. And so that is exactly what I'm about to do. And so let's do that. I hope you guys are having an awesome Wednesday. I'm a bit tired, but I hope you guys are having a great time. So let me share as you're sharing as well. And then we're going to get started because we're going to talk about choosing the right date for your next event. Okay, and share one more other place. Okay. All right, perfect. Awesome. So I'm going to get started. I have my notes, my copious notes for this because I wanted to make sure I give you guys right information. So we're talking about this evening. First let me back all the way up. You may not even know who I am, and that's totally fine. So my name is Melissa Jakes. I am CEO and founder of Rescue Event Planning, also known as the Olivia Pope of live events. And I come on almost every Wednesday, unless I'm just not feeling well. I come on every Wednesday to to have a discussion about different things about event planning. And we also call it hashtag Ask Melissa Wednesdays. So though your question may not be about this specific topic, anything dealing with event planning, I encourage people to ask questions because when you ask questions, then you get your answers, and knowledge is power. So once you have that knowledge, then you have the power to almost do anything, right? So if you guys are joining in, if you're watching the replay, please say hashtag replay. If you're joining in live, let me know that you're joining in live and giving me some hearts and let me know that you're in there. I like to give personal shout outs to folks. Thank you so much. All right. So we're going to talk about choosing the right date for your next event. And why is that important? And so it's all about date. You know, a lot of people say it's location, but dates are very important. And so we want to talk about what dates to stay away from, what dates that you should lean towards, what day of the week. And also we can talk about some timing because timing is a factor too, depending on your audience. So we need to determine whether a weekday, evening, or weekend best suits your audience. So the best example I'm going to give, right? When I'm doing events on Sundays, I worry about one major audience, and this may not apply because I don't go to church on Sundays. I go to church on Saturdays, but majority of the population goes to church on Sunday, right? And so that's my major audience. If I am doing something with a lot of Christian faith people who go to church on Sunday, then I make sure if I'm doing an event or I have a client who's going to be doing an event, I keep that in mind a lot. If that is their target audience, if we are doing a Sunday, you need to think about, are they going to be willing to miss church for that? Or if you're going to do it after church, are they going to be hungry? So you better have food. And church varies as far as when it ends. It could be 1 o'clock, it could be 2 o'clock, it could be 12 o'clock, depending on what service. There's early service, mid-service, late service. So there's so many different services now. And so you just kind of need to say, like, is Sunday a good day for you if that's going to be your target audience? So thinking about that. When it comes to pricing, though, one really good day, I'm going to talk now to my wedding folks first, and then I'll talk to my entrepreneur folks. So for weddings, a really good day, which is not your typical day that you will have a wedding, but it's a Friday. You get your money's worth. So the secret was, it used to be Sunday. I got married on a Sunday, and I got 10% off because it was a Sunday. No, I'm sorry. I got 20% off because it was a Sunday, and I got 10% off because it was a holiday weekend. So I got 30% off of my whole entire package. And so that is something where a lot of people weren't having weddings on Sundays because you had to go to work the next day. But if you did on a holiday weekend, then that's better for you. Excuse me real quick. Get my pay for your job. So, however, the industry started picking up on this. This is the bad part, right? They're like, oh, everybody's willing to do Sunday weddings because you want our discounts. Now they started jacking up the price on Sundays, right? So now the new date is a Friday or a Thursday. If you do it on a holiday weekend, a Friday, then people probably will still take off of work to get to your wedding. Then they have Saturday and Sunday to still enjoy their weekend. And then if they're off on Monday as well, then they have that as well. So some people are starting to do Fridays, and you still get really good discounts with venues. Always ask that. Do you have a weekday discount? Some venues have been getting smart, and their weekday is Monday through Thursday, not including Friday. So it just really depends on your venue. So that is something to ask about for price reduction when it comes to selecting what day of the week. For my entrepreneur folks, when it comes to selecting a day, you might work better doing a weekday as far as pricing, because you're competing with either they're losing their space to a wedding, if you do a weekend, which they can get more money from that, or a bigger event, a special event, a networking event, whichever. And so you might get a better price point during the week than the weekend. Really just depends on the venue. But if you're doing something with like 40, 50 people, a conference, of course not. I would stick that to the weekend. You can start off on a Friday, at least get one day a bit discount before you hit your Saturday. Saturday is the most popular day to have an event. So if you're trying to bring price down, I will avoid that day because people mark up their days anyway. And they have a minimum of how much you have to spend on a Saturday. So that's really determining on your audience and what's going to best fit your budget. Okay. So the second thing will allow enough advanced planning to execute a successful event, at least 2 months for every 100 attendants. And that's a really good key. Now, if you're having somebody, but again, it depends on your event. If you're like, oh, I have a wedding, I'm only inviting 40 people, so I can plan my wedding in 2 months. Yeah, good luck. It can happen. I have done one for 150 people in 3 months, but I'm an event planner, not by yourself. So if you're doing a conference with 1,000 people, you're doing, take that 1,000 people times 2. That's how many months you need to be planning further out for. And so that helps with dates, because, okay, if you have 1,000 people, your date needs to be further out because you need a venue that can accommodate that. And then you want to think about, okay, especially for a big conference, parking and where in the city. Is the best example I can give is DC and a conference space in DC. We have a lot of conference spaces, but I'm going to go to the conference center down on 9th Street. And during the summertime off of Massachusetts Avenue, it's just impossible. Everybody has their major conferences down there, and so traffic is just so horrible on the metro as well. And so it's really just kind of thinking further out, and are you going to do it during the summertime? Do you want to be with that traffic? Or am I going to do it in the fall where there's not that much traffic going on, even though school's back in session and Congress is back in session as well, but you're not dealing with all of the tourism that happens down in DC. And so you want to think about, on your date, think about what annually happens every year. 4th of July, you may not want to pick anything that's close to that or after that, because a lot of people come and visit DC, nation's capital, happy birthday, Independence Day, and certain streets get blocked off. So when you're talking about your location, think about what annually happens. Another good one where I don't think Morgan didn't really plan for. I went to Morgan State University, and their homecoming fell on the breast cancer walk that was annual in Baltimore. And when I mean gridlock, where streets were closed for hours, I was stuck behind the walk and run for at least 2 hours. Miss homecoming, can't even get to homecoming. And so I think that was very bad planning on Morgan's part, not realizing that the walk and the run runs along the same street that they're going to do their parade. And so they're blocking off multiple arteries, I'm going to say artery streets, to get to the university that people couldn't get to on time. So they missed the parade. Attendance at the parade was horrible because after the walk was over, then you could start getting through, and the game didn't start until 1:00. So think about what happens annually in your city, that you don't want to start messing around with that, because when things are annual, they're going to have these roads blocked off. And your guest is just going to be stuck and frustrated and just going to turn back around. Like, I'm not even going to bother, even if they did pay a ticket. So that's something to think about. Keep in mind it's not all about venues, but it's also about caterers and how booked are they before, when you're started selecting your date. Though I got married on a holiday weekend. Hey, thank you guys. Sorry, I missed you guys real quick. Hey, thank you. Hey, thank you, Shell. Thank you. Noelle, thank you, girl. I haven't seen you in a while. And so keep in mind about caterers, right? They get booked. And though I got married on a holiday weekend, that's also a likely time that they're going to get booked too. So if you are going to do something on a holiday weekend, at least a year out, try to beat that. You can't come in 6 months before, 3 months before, and think that the caterer that you really want and really like is going to be available. If they have the manpower, they'll make themselves available, but most people don't want to overextend themselves because then it's the quality of the food. So you want to make sure that they're not totally booked. And by doing that is making sure you have a great date that is not as popular. And that might be a weekday, again, if it's for a wedding, or even for an entrepreneur event, it might be a weekday because it might be less charges as well. Okay, so that's 3. 4, most annual events take place at the same time every year. We talked about this. So if you're going to have something traditional, make sure you keep that same date. If you're going to have a conference that happens around Mother's Day weekend, is going to be about women empowerment, about women, all that stuff, and brunch, whichever, then don't switch it up the next year. If that's going to be your annual thing, make sure it is that weekend, because people, they will start blocking that off on their calendar. Great example is Howard University. They always do it on Mother's Day weekend. And I always could not understand why were universities having things done on Mother's Day weekend. And then until I actually graduated from Howard with my master's, they explained that it's a gift back to your mother. When you're graduating, like, you're able to give this degree in a sense back to your mother. And so that's what's significant for them. So everybody knows that is Howard's homecoming. Don't mess with it. Don't touch it. You already know Mother's Day weekend, forget about it. That's Howard's, graduation. So think of it something like that. If you're going to try to do an annual event, keep that in mind, that when you set that date and you're saying first annual, you're going to need to have that on the same weekend again, or close to that weekend again, for your second annual, so people can start understanding the trend and the tradition of it, to say, okay, this weekend it will always happen. And then it brings stability to your pockets and your coins because people are already booking ahead of time, right? So there are some blackout dates I want to talk about. Blackout dates, it depends on the venue. Most Airbnbs, they may have a blackout date where they're not allowing anybody to book. Sometimes community centers have blackout dates, whereas around holidays or special things that they have to put on events. So start asking people what their blackout dates, even before you select your venue. That will give you an idea to say, maybe I should look at a different venue, because this is their blackout date. Some people put on their website, some people don't. So you're going to have to do a little research on that and see where their blackout dates are, so that you're not stuck to a date and then you're looking for an event, you're looking for event space, and you keep hitting this brick wall because they had blackout dates. We talked about how Saturdays are popular. Check calendars for competing events. Eventbrite is really good at this. If you go on Eventbrite and see what's happening the same weekend that you're trying to plan your event in your area, and it's probably going to be around your same target audience, you may not want to do that. Or if your same target audience is going to have an event the weekend before and you're having it the weekend after, it can go either way. You can go to that person's event and network and tell them that you have an event even better or more networking opportunities, or you can get something just like this to come to your event the next weekend. I've seen some people do that. Some people have been successful with it. Some people haven't. Because some people are saying, I already came to this event. I don't need the same content again to go to your event. So browse Eventbrite. It's really good. You can just kind of see what's going on in Columbia, what's going on in DC, Virginia, Woodbridge. And you can kind of see the different things that's happening. If there's nothing happening in your same target audience or your same content level that you're sharing, then that's a great way to know that, oh, okay, I could probably do this on this day or this weekend because I don't have too many competing events. So that's good to know. Think of public schools and private schools schedules. Do parents have to take off if they're going to be out on that Friday and you're trying to have an event on that Friday? And they already have to take off of work and then they're going to try to figure out something for the evening for the kids. Or your target audience might be kids. And so you're going to have your event on that Friday because you know they're out of school. So checking the school schedule, if that is your target audience, is a great way to see what are the kids doing to get that going, right? Religious holidays. Oh, I learned the hard lesson. I learned a hard lesson with this one. I was so frustrated. I did not get the event I wanted. I was planning my daughter's 4th birthday. And yes, I was procrastinating because I was planning other people's events and I'm trying to then plan my little daughter's birthday party event while I'm planning other people's events. And so I'm looking for venues. And in my area, we have a heavy populated, we have a lot of different cultures, but it was a very big Jewish holiday. And apparently every community center in Columbia know that they're going to get booked up because this is the major holiday and they use this every year basically. So one venue was available but not the time I wanted. The other venue was just totally booked. I literally called 10 community centers in the area. And we have a lot of them. We have a lot of different community centers in Columbia. And all 10 was like, so sorry, we've been booked. It is what you watch holiday. And every time they said, so sorry, I started finishing their sentence. I know it's, what holiday. And so they're like, yeah, it's a popular day. There's a popular day. There's that weekend. So now I know for my future daughter's birthdays, okay, her birthday's around a very popular Jewish holiday. Got it. And so I need to book a space earlier if I'm going to do the community center route. So pay attention to that because even me had struggles with finding a venue. And I did find a venue, not the venue I really wanted. And so that also is not a good feeling when you're kind of settling. I hate settling. I want the thing that I actually wanted, but I can't change my child's birthday. So I had to stick with what I had. And so keep that in mind. That's why planning ahead is so important because you run into different barriers and you just never know. You're thinking, yeah, who's ever going to choose this date? And yeah, that's the most popular date in the world. And just, thinking about that. So those are the things we're talking about as far as choosing dates. And as you're planning your event, and you're having questions and all of that, we did start in 2019. We are having my first course, and my course is going for $27 a week. That is it. Nothing expensive. And so the name of the course is DIY Event Planning Crash Course. So if you're a DIY it person, it's a 4 weeks course. We meet once a week. for an hour. And we go through these different steps about the DIY things that you need. Simple. I think second week, we talk about how to even make a centerpiece, and I make them live and go with the class with them to give them different ideas of like very simple, nothing extravagant, nothing major where you're like, I can't do that, Melissa. It's so simple. Trust me. And if you love to do things on your own and figure it out and be very proud of the work that you do, DIY is for you, then no problem. I think this course is definitely for you. And that's why it's important that I wanted to share this in 2019. It's starting a new year. You're going to want to do things. And if you're an entrepreneur, there's things that you have to do. And there's events that you must do, even if it's a small event of 15 people to a bigger event that might have 100 people. But you want to make sure you are doing events for your brand. And it might be you're doing an event for your birthday. You're celebrating 30 this year in 2019. And so you want to do an event and try it out yourself. And I don't want anybody to plan it but me. And I'm totally fine with that. And so this course will be for you too. Maybe it's for a birthday party for your daughter or your son or your husband or your significant other. Or you're trying to plan a surprise anniversary party for your parents. And so any category this goes to, the DIY event planning crash course would definitely help you. And you guys, it is $27 a week. So I am going to drop the link in the comment sections so that you guys can register. I hope that came out right. Put it in there. Okay, there it goes. It's coming as a hyperlink. And I'll pin the comment as well so you guys can see. So the course is there. You can register from now until we start. The first day of the course starts, I believe, January 3rd. Yep, January 3rd, 2019. It is almost here. Can you believe it? It's almost here. And so we want to make sure we give you guys everything you need to start the year off right. $27 a week. You got to be kidding me. It's totally easy. And it's about empowering and giving you guys the tools so that you can run the event yourself and do it, which we give some really good nuggets about that. Okay. So I don't know if anybody has questions. Type in your questions. Hey, Julia. Thank you for tagging your friend, Rochelle. Okay, totally cool. So thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. Again, my name is Melissa Jakes. I am CEO and founder of Rescue Event Planning, also known as Olivia Pope of Live Events. And I'm so glad you stayed on this evening. Choosing the right date for your event. If you're catching the replay, please watch from the beginning. Gave you some really good nuggets on what to do about choosing the date, because it's also about location, but it's also about the right date that can change or that can make or break your pockets if you're planning a wedding, or make or break your pockets or gain income if you're an entrepreneur and hosting an event. So there's some great nuggets. And if you have any questions for me, please feel free to put in the comments. And don't forget to sign up. $27 a week in January, DIY crash course. Thank you guys. Bye.